And I'm here with another improv tip of the month for the month of February 2018. And today I'm going to answer the question, what are the best notes for improvising? You know, because I'm a jazz educator, I get this question all the time. Students or teachers will come up to me and say, there's this tune and we want to add an improvisation. So if we're looking for the best notes for improvising, they want to hear an answer like, well, you answer it for yourself, just privately right now. What are the best notes for improvising? My guess is that you are writing something like the blues scale, or pentatonic, or the major key scale, or some cool altered jazz bebop quadruple double spin scale that sounds all theoretical and difficult. But that's not. I'm going to answer the best notes for improvising. What are the best notes for improvising? Ready for this? Here it is. The best notes for improvising on any tune in any style are, drum roll please, the notes in the melody. The notes in the melody. Think about it. It stands to reason. If the melody fit the chords and the underlying structure, then it's going to fit the improvisation. That's the quote of the day. That's the one to take away. The best notes for improvising on any given tune are the same notes that are in the melody. All the improviser has to do is mix them up. And it's easier than you think. Let me show you how. We're going to use a simple tune, and then I'll show it to you in a way that I do it in my That's Jazz Piano Method book. So, okay, we're going to take Twinkle. Why do I use Twinkle so much in these sessions? Because everybody knows it. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. So, okay, let's just refresh our memory on this tune. And to prove that it's any genre, I will not do it in a jazz way. So I'll put that old famous Alberti bass under there. Okay, there's Twinkle. So let's now figure out how do you get under the hood there and get going with improvising on that. Well, the first thing to do is take stock of the notes in the melody. Identify the unique notes. Unique means that repeated notes don't count. So we have in Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, first two measures in the key of C, the only unique notes are C, G, and A. C, G, A. Okay? So now the second two measures, we just take a new chunk and we say, what are those unique notes? F, E, D, C. So we have two chunks, C, G, A, and F, E, D, C. These are like the painter who prepares their palette by putting on, you know, the colors that they're going to use for their painting. Well, these notes are going to be, in a way, note palettes that will serve your improvisation. So let's just mix up those notes. This is a very simple example, but I'll show you in a minute how it can work on any tune and be much more complex if that's what you like. Okay, so let's say one possibility of mixing those up, and yours will sound different, and my next one would sound different. It sounds like this. So I play G, C, G, A, C, confining myself just to the notes in the melody. Let's try another variation of that. So there's many ways you could do that. Alright. The second part of the melody is F, G, or F, E, D, C. So maybe it's So mixing the notes up, we've now created a nice little variation. And it didn't take a genius or a lot of talent or a deeply felt melody in your heart. It just took a little bit of knowledge of what tools are at hand. Now, the next thing to do to make your improvisation a little bit more personal is to shake up that rhythm. So let's get away from the quarter notes of Twinkle, Twinkle, and use some cooler rhythms. And we can borrow our rhythm for this simple example from London Bridge's Falling Down. Dot a quarter eighth, dot 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 dot, dot a quarter eighth. So using those same notes, maybe we end up with this. So I have two rhythms in there. London Bridges, borrowing that rhythm. And the second rhythm, I borrowed a rhythm from The Entertainer. Short, long, short, and so here it is. And I am peeking at a written example so I don't fumble around on the video, but the intent is to improvise these. So, okay, let's listen to that. Quite a bit different from Twinkle. We've now really personalized it, taking the notes from the next half I'm just working with those. Threw a G in there, which wasn't legal because it isn't in those melodies, but it just came out, and that's okay, right? So let me go over those 4 steps again. It's really simple. It's called melody mix-up. The best notes for improvising are the notes in the tune. Start by identifying note chunks within the tune, mix them up, and then throw in some rhythm. Okay, now let me show you how this could work on a tune in my That's Jazz book. I am the author of a 9-book jazz piano series published by Chose Music, KJOS. Here's my very well-worn copies from all the conferences that I've taken these to and all the years I've taught with them. There are 3 core method books and then 3 supplementary books and even 3 Christmas books, all leveled and all full of course, wonderful, compelling tunes. But the main thing is that they're full of creative concepts like this one so that students are equipped to make their own music. So in this example, which I can't show you for copyright reasons, but I'm in book 1 on the 2nd tune. It's called Swing Out. And so let's just listen to a little bit of the Swing Out. I'm going to use here an instrument I invented. It's called a tambourine. I don't know if you look really close there, it says tambourine. I make these in my wood shop and sell them at music conferences and online. So I'm going to put that on my foot here for a little rhythm. There we go. So it's a nice little simple little tune in one hand position. But if we look at the unique notes in those first 2 measures, they are from the top down C, A, G, E. Right? And if we go from the next 2 measures, we have just 1 note different. D. So now I have C-A-G-D instead of C-A-G-E. And in the 3rd measure, that lowest note turns to an E flat. C-A-G-A, 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 E flat. And then we have a little collection here that's based on pentatonic scale. Okay, so the part I forgot to mention is that really first step to improvising is to know your tune. Of course, you got to get your tune down in your bones, know what chord's coming. Anyway, so here's one possibility of how those notes, C, A, G, E, might be reorganized in an improvisation. So just taking that as a note set. See. Okay, so I just made that up. Now we'll change it to the next set of notes with the D in it. And then the last set that has the E flat in it. And I'll start on the bottom this time. So that sounded reasonable, right? It sounded like it fit. It sounded like it also came out of the tune. It wasn't necessarily this big sort of genius new idea, which wouldn't make a good improvisation. Let's take a look at this. So I'm going to do a tune that everybody knows called Don't Get Around Much Anymore. It's a Duke Ellington tune. I want to look right here. Right here. Don't get around much anymore. It up higher, maybe you can see it, or lower even. Starts on E, I'll let you ear out the rest. Now those notes that I just played for that famous lick, don't get around much anymore, those notes are not in any scale. They have elements of the major scale in them, they have elements of a little bit of blues in them because it has an F sharp from the dark blues scale or minor blues scale. It has an E flat, which is also in that scale, but it's also in the bright blues scale. We can get all lost in the theory of all that. What scale is this? What's going on? But all we need to do is say if it were in the melody, we can use those notes. So taking that note collection, which is C, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, and it happens on a, let's see, on a C chord, is it? No, it's on a G chord. It ends on a C chord. So let's say we get to that point and we want to improvise just using those same notes. In fact, let's improvise over the whole first section with Ellington's notes. appropriate, it sounded jazzy, and it fit. Why? Because the notes in the melody fit your improvisation. So when you're stuck and you want to identify the notes that will work for improvisation, just look at the melody. It's all right there for you. So let's wrap up by going one more time over the steps. 4 steps to finding the best notes for improvising. What are the best notes for improvising? The notes that are in the melody. So the number 1, learn the tune well. Know it. Right now I'm playing Swing Out from That's Jazz. It's all right. I know it. It's in my hands. I know where the chord is. I know how it sounds. I've lived with that tune. And then identify the unique melody notes in there. We just talked about E, G, A, C. And then mix those notes up. Sometimes people will mix them up really just and play a similar pattern, which you want to look beyond that, by the way. Listen to this. That's the original melody. Sometimes you'll get this, which is just a sort of an inside-out version of it. What you want to say is really do your own thing with it. Maybe like... rhythm and a whole different order. So the steps are: learn the tune well, identify the unique melody notes. 3, mix up those notes. 4, mix up and shake and stir the rhythms. And there you have it. I answered the question, what are the best notes for improvisation? I'm going to do a blog about that later today, so head on over to bradleysowash.com. While you're there, subscribe to my newsletter. But if you will go to the blog and fill out that little form, I'll let you know every time there's a new blog. They're all improv tips. This one will come out later today, all about melody mix-up. So I'll sign off the way I love to sign off, with a little tip of the hat to a nature show I love, where he ends in a specific way, and I'll do the same thing. Here it is. Until next time, enjoy your creative music-making journey. Bye for now.